What's up, everybody? Welcome to BioS3 Raw TV. I got a request to make a video, and I think it was like last week I got the request. And then something happened this weekend that made me, let's fix this fucking camera angle, make this shit square. Alright, square. And then some shit happened this weekend that made me kind of step back and say, okay, maybe I should make a video about this because it's not really what everybody thinks. That's what my personal take is on it. So the request was, can I talk about how when people are dieting for a show, and the carbs are really low and you're depleted, about how people lose their tempers fairly quickly. Let's shut these messages off. The fuck? I hate when this happens. About when people lose their tempers really quickly. Now, here's the deal. Some people are going to be assholes when they diet, some are not. When I diet and I get to that depleted point, as any of my ex-girlfriends can attest, I get quiet. Like, I really don't want to be bothered. And, you know, it sounds shitty saying that they're bothering me. But just, trying to interact with me and stuff sometimes will bother me. Okay, that's my fuse being really short. But I don't really lash out and scream and yell and turn to an asshole and break things. Did when I was younger, okay? But that was just a maturity thing at that point. So, I guess this person that was writing was saying flat out that they have a competitor that they're dating or whatever. And he just loses his fucking shit all the time. He just fucking, to me it's an excuse. You're using it as an excuse to yell at people, to be a dick. You're using it as a way to vent and use them as a punching bag. That's a good way to put it. I think Carrie had used that term before. Use them as like a verbal punching bag to get your frustrations out. And obviously it's not the right thing to do. It happens quite often apparently because people talk about it all the time. But sometimes it's not necessarily the diet that does it. Sometimes it's you get to the point where you've put up with so much throughout the contest prep itself that you're tired. You're tired. Not physically tired. You're physically tired, but you're mentally tired and you're broken and you're worn out. And even if you don't want to be an asshole, sometimes that asshole sneaks out. Now, I can really be a dick. I'm not, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. I can be a complete fucking asshole to people sometimes. If they deserve it, plain and simple. If they deserve it, I don't even feel bad about when I'm a dick to them. If they don't deserve it and somehow it slips out because of some issue that I have, most of the time I will recognize it, usually after the fact, and then apologize. Which is the case that happened this past Saturday after the Del Marva Classic. I had just won the class, went out to eat with Erin, Dana, Laura, and Michelle. Yes, I was hanging out with figure and bikini girls. We went out to dinner, and we're sitting at the table, and this is a true story, a little story time. And we're all talking and having a great time. I mean, we're loud, we're fun, we're laughing and stuff. A lot of our, we're talking about everything that happened during the day and stuff. I mean, all kinds of shit. It was a cool time. It was a good time. None of us were drinking, so we weren't obnoxious or all fucked up or anything. I wasn't really carb depleted. I had carved up really heavily the day before and 3 days before that. Maybe a little water depleted, but I had had enough fluids in me by the time we got to the restaurant. Water, and I had an Isopure of all things. That was what I had right when I came off stage. And we're sitting at the table, and this lady walks up to us, and she's like, "Excuse me, you guys bodybuilders?" And we just kind of laughed. I was like, because everybody's there is in good shape. Their bodies don't look typical. Michelle and I both had a tan on because we both competed, so we have like the pro tan on. So, we're like, yeah, and she's like, oh, wow. She starts going on this big spiel, and at first I'm thinking, oh, what a nice lady. She just saw us walk through, and obviously we don't look like the norm, and rather than judge us, she came over to tell us we look great, blah, blah, blah. And she's really kind of laying it on kind of thick, and I was like, oh, that's really nice, whatever. And she goes, there's my table over there. Those people, they're all my friends, and we just met for the first time this weekend. We're from all over the place. And I was like, here's what it is. This is like a business thing. So there's salespeople that have been brought from all over the country to a meeting. That's where they're coming from. So as my wheels are starting to turn, she goes on and on and on about how great we are and how amazing we look. And she knows somebody that's on a diet with fucking 2 asparagus sticks and a chicken. I mean, she really did it on thick, and she had some facts that she could connect with us with. And then she's like, well, you guys are obviously into health and fitness, right? And we're like, yeah. She's like, well, I have something that's so groundbreaking that you should know, and it's this research, and it's going to fucking change the world, and let me go get my phone so I can get all you guys' phone numbers and emails. And I'm like, what the fuck just happened? Like, at this point, I'm actually like, okay, it's like 9:30 at night on a Saturday night at Applebee's. We're about to have dinner after a show, and we're getting a sales pitch by some lady, and it dawned on me, she's the sales team leader. She was coming over to show them that no matter where you are, you can make a sale. And immediately my ears get hot. Like, the tips of my ears get really hot when I get mad. I was like, that motherfucker. I'm like, I hope she doesn't come back. And I was getting physically mad. Like, I was starting to get that nervous pit in my stomach. Like, confrontation is coming. not that I'm going to smack the lady around or anything, but I knew something was coming. I said, this is, you know, I can't hold this back. Fuck. So she comes back with her phone. She's like, all right, let me get you guys. I said, look, you're being rude. I just flat out looked her in the eye and said, you're being rude. And she's like, I'm not being rude. And I knew, I'm like, this is the sales tactic. They try to talk you in a circle to get you back to what they want from you, which is your number and your email, to do what they wanted to do, which is sell you the product, which is get your names and stuff to prove to the team that she can do it. I said, I don't give a shit. Please leave. And she's like, oh, well, I said, you're fucking pissing me off right now. Leave. So after a couple instances of that, she left. You know, on the table, kind of like, you know, all the girls were like, what the fuck? Like, you know, Jerry's kind of losing his temper, but I had had enough. She pushed my last fucking button, and it really didn't have to do with the diet. It really didn't have to do with the water. It really didn't have to do with anything other than the fact that she pushed my buttons. And I think, you know, it was funny because, you know, Laura and, you know, everybody else were like, oh, you know, once you get some carbs and you'll be fine. You're just upset because of carbs. It really wasn't the carbs. It was the fact that she pushed that button. Whether I had had a pizza in me or I weighed 260 pounds, it was rude. And the fact that she, even after I said, you're being rude, oh, no, I'm not. She tried to talk. I was like, I've had enough. Bullshit. So at the end of the, end of their meal, you know, we're all sitting there. We were there for quite a while. We were pretty much there almost till the place closed. And she comes back over, okay? So this goes to show you what type of person she is. Now, she's a salesperson who gets shot down and looked like a dick in front of her friends, okay? Because her friends were watching me tell her to go fuck off. So she comes back, and she's, oh, I just want to tell you girls, you look fabulous, and that's all I was trying to say. And she just looks at me. I looked at her, and I was like, I hope you crash your car on the way to the airport. Like, immediately, that's my personality. You poke me, I'm going to punch you. You punch me, I'm going to stab you. You stab me, I'm going to shoot you. Like, you shoot me, I'm going to fucking blow you up with a grenade. Like that, it goes one further. And that ugly side of me came out. You know, the whole table saw it. And I remember Aaron's face going, holy fuck, why would you say that? And in my head, I'm like, I didn't say for her to die. Maybe just fucking break a leg, break a neck, a fucking body cast, traction, some shit like that. Fuck her. She came back specifically to insult me. She can go fuck herself. I hope she crashes on the way to the airport. And, you know, it took me probably a day to say, okay, you know, that was probably rude in front of my friends to do that because they don't need to see that side of me. But at the same time, I don't feel bad about what I said to that woman. I really don't. And that could be me being a dick. It's not the food. It's just me being me. So there are going to be times where it's not necessarily the diet or the training or the depletion or whatever. It's the person's button has been pushed. And a lot of times the people that are not dieting will blame it on the diet when they actually push the wrong button themselves. And I think, you know, as bad as this is going to sound, because I'm being fucking raw and real with you, the person that's getting the brunt of the punching bag sometimes may need to step back and say, if I'm getting fucking the punching bag all the time, what am I doing to set this off? It could be something that they're doing and then blaming it on the diet. Like, that wasn't the diet that flipped me off. It was that lady. Okay, now I'm responsible for my own actions, and I take responsibility for what I said and what I did, but it wasn't the diet, okay? If that lady hadn't come up and been a bitch, I wouldn't have fucking lost control. No excuse, but the bottom line is, this caused this to happen, period. So, you know, yes, people are grumpy, they're depleted, they don't feel well, they may be more short-tempered, but that's the time when I usually, if I'm dating a competitor, step back and say, what can I do to make this easier on them? If they're getting riled up a little bit faster than when they normally don't, you just back off. You let them go. They'll come around. So be aware that it's not always the diet. Sometimes it's something you said that can be taken out of context. Sometimes you're being a dick, even though you may hold something against them, you're being a dick to them inadvertently, like passive-aggressive wise, and it's coming back on you. There's just a bunch of different things that happen. But, you know, I apologize to Laura, to Dana, to Michelle, and to Aaron, all, you know, for what I said. And all of them are cool about it. But the bottom line is, don't fuck with me when I'm eating. Biostraining@gmail.com. Leave comments down below, but don't fight. www.biostraining.com is a blog. It's the don't fuck with me when I'm eating bicep, and we're out.